Wow. This is the biggest win ever. Elemental. Imagine, oh my god. Why is he get so OP of a freaking secret? And what about me? I can get no secret. I want secret. I want more secret. I want more secret. Any secret. Any secret.
Oh, I'm just so incredibly epic. No one can compare. Oh, really? Or are you just playing baby games? My feelings. Why don't you try League of Legends? If you think building forts, grabbing souls, or defusing bombs is hard, then okay. It's time for a real challenge. With hundreds of champions and items, you're gonna have to use your brain and your fingers. It's like, dang, dude, the strategy, the depth. This is you now, but this is what you could be. League of Legends. It's free, so grab yourself some gamer glory. Show off your skills and impress the people who really matter. Strangers on the internet. How much clout do you... It was a... Its huge abdominal forceps are capable of giving a painful pinch, but unless provoked, it is unlikely to attack. Its only danger to human life is in the way that it forms the habitat that it needs in order to be able to reproduce. First, the creature enters the human body through the mouth. In order to enter, the human being must be asleep. It is currently unknown how the creature determines that the human has fallen asleep. But what we do know is that the creature is accurate in knowing that the human is asleep in the majority of cases. Once the creature has located a suitable host, it waits in a dark corner of the room for the human to go to sleep. Once asleep, the creature approaches the human and enters the body. Hours of the human awaken fear, and the host Fickens progressiva is so rapid, it causes severe pain in the human. Often, new bones burst out of dark and crevices inside cat. Lonely take, within reaches this point, what is known as within 3 days having
cabinets, or heating ducts. If the host receives no treatment at all, it will only take within 3 days for him to reach the final stage of the transformation into what is known as the bone hive. When the host reaches this point, he will take up the fetal position. Sections of the skeletal structure will shift position until the body takes on a sphere-like shape. New bones will continue to form to produce a cage to protect the internal organs and colony. The end result will be around 3/4 of the size of the original human body. At this point, transformation is complete. The original queen that entered the host will have produced 20 to 30,000 offspring that function as workers, drones, and warriors in a typical insect hive hierarchy. Since only the queen is capable of reproduction, the rest of the hive's inhabitants are fortunately harmless except for the large, strong abdominal forceps of the warriors. The interior of the sphere is now almost unrecognizable from its original form. Some of the internal organs are used as food, whilst others are modified by the worker insects to be used as egg incubation chambers. The warrior insects collect organic material which is then processed by the host's digestive system into a nutritive slurry, which feeds the colony and also maintains the hive structure. It takes around 4 to 6 months for a new queen to emerge. She will select a drone to mate with. Once this has happened, the colony will destroy itself by rupturing the sphere. The majority of the insects will die at this time, as drones and workers cannot survive outside of the colony. Now that their task has been completed, the warrior insects will abandon the sphere. No food will be consumed by warriors that aren't nutritive slurry produced by the hive of origin. The new queen will venture out, fertilized, to search for her own new hive. Incredibly, the trauma of evacuation is not what finally causes biological activity to cease in the hive, but starvation is the cause. A particular disturbing piece of information was discovered when one of the leading female doctors in this field performed a range of experiments to see what damage had occurred to the body during the transformation. Previous autopsies had shown that some parts of the brain had been destroyed to be used for food, whilst other parts remained intact, presumably to control the bodily. The doctor lifted the eyelids and shone a beam of light into the eyes. The eyes moved and followed the beam as it went from left to right. At this point, the experiment was terminated, and there are no plans for any further testing. SCP-439 is currently being kept at the Hazardous Lifeforms Wing of Armed Research Site. Handling is authorized only to personnel level 2. Seeks to prevent its own demise. Whatever the case, SCP-439 must be handled with great care. What do you think of that SCP case?
A young woman on her way home is walking down a city street, and just like most nights, the downtown empties out after the working day ends, leaving the streets empty of both cars and pedestrians. She hates when she has to close the shop and walk to her bus stop alone, and she is excited that in just another week, she will be starting a new job that's just the fence. It's the last thing she sees before her eyes close for good. The bus finally comes to a stop in a deserted area of the city. The vehicle raises slightly as, one after another, each wheel appears to unfold, revealing them to be long, black, spindly legs. The bus stands up on these insectoid appendages as its roof splits into 2 massive wings. The bus then leaps up into the sky, spreading its wings, and flies off into the night. How could this young woman have known that after escaping danger, that her rescuer would be something worse, much worse? Unfortunately for her, she had just willingly stepped onto an instance of SCP-2086, a deadly and terrifying anomaly that hides in plain sight as it stalks and hunts its human prey. SCP-2086 is the designation the SCP Foundation has given to a species that appears to belong to the arthropod phylum, a group that also includes arachnids and crustaceans. These strange creatures differ from most of their transit vehicles they are mimicking. Close examination of them, though, will repose up and of SCP into long, standing up biological mechanisms by SCP brain and stomach, which are found beneath the flooring in the creature's interior chamber. SCP-2086 appendages are not locomotion, though. Passengers who willingly enter the creature's inner chamber, thinking that it 2086 makes use of a decoy driver to think twice about stepping on board. So SCP-2086 makes use of a decoy driver. which is actually a human corpse encased and preserved in a shellac-like substance. Smaller, fibrous appendages protrude from the front seat and into the corpse, which hold it in place and are even capable of manipulating the corpse, giving it the appearance of movement as it drives the bus. Once SCP-2086 has gathered up what it considers to be enough victims, a number that appears to vary from instance to instance, it will release a noxious gas from its interior vents. The gas produces an effect in humans similar to chloroform, and everyone on board will be rendered unconscious. The creature, now filled with its prey, does not feed on the humans trapped inside it, though. Instead, it will take them to its nesting grounds, which is where the real horror begins. These nesting grounds are most often localized in scrap and junkyards that have fallen into disuse or are completely abandoned this size for long. It is already too late. The juvenile instance will then proceed to force the human into a hole located under their hood. This leads to a sort of digestive tract that connects to its inner chamber where the driver's seat is located. Small, hair-like appendages will then emerge from the seat and protrude into the prey's body, which hold them in place in the driver's seat and trap them there, while at the same time acting as feeding tubes, draining the blood from the now doomed passenger. Once the person has been completely drained of blood, the feeding tubes will begin secreting a saline solution as the internal compartment fills with a shellac-like substance, and the effects of both combine to effectively embalm and preserve the corpse, which will serve as its own decoy driver once it enters adulthood.
300 for that and 2,000 for this is way too expensive. Today I'm going to show you guys all this stuff for a lot cheaper. Okay, so first, go to one of your favorite gaming websites. Select the products you want, then click the Honey browser extension.
SCP-5000. Gunshots echo down the concrete hallway of Site-22. Screams are the only thing that escape each room. A team of men in all black combat gear and masks move from one section of the complex to the next. Pietro Wilson hides in his office, listening to the cries for mercy of his colleagues. He shakes uncontrollably with fear. Who are they? He thinks. Why are they killing everyone? And how did they find us? Moments earlier, Pietro Wilson had been in the canteen eating dinner with other staff members. A group of heavily armed men entered the room. They stood silently surveying the area. One of the scientists stood up and asked if they could assist them. That's when the carnage started. One of the masked men raised his rifle and shot the scientist in the head. Chaos broke out as the other mercenaries raised their weapons and began firing. Bullets flew everywhere, and Pietro was lucky not to be struck or trampled as he escaped. Wilson knows that he's to each person's head to make sure. It seems that the only mission these men were on was to kill everyone and make sure they stayed dead. He continues towards the exit of Site-22 that is guarded by two men. As he reaches the two heavily armed men, Pietro makes sure to be as quiet as possible. This is not a difficult task, as the SCP-5000 has given him stealth capabilities. He notices that even his footsteps aren't giving off any sound. It is almost as if the suit is allowing him to glide across the floor. He is almost to the exit. Then he will be home free. He takes that his penis telling him he is thirsty, but the vitals on the suit's heads-up display say that he is in good health. In fact, he is better than good. His vitals are all perfect. The suit seems to be giving him all the nutrients his body needs. It has even fixed his busted knee that was injured back in college playing football. The joint itself has somehow been healed. Pietro finally reaches the safe, opens the door. It is quiet and dusty. It looks as if no one has been there in years. He walks over to the communication station and tries to contact the Foundation, but all he gets is static. He gives up and walks over to the TV. He pushes the on button. The screen hisses to life. What he sees causes his